ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ गणनां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। So we are starting back with the Nyaya Sutras. We were on to this third chapter and the second part. So fourth chapter, sorry, third we had finished. So we were on to the 9th or 10th. We were on to the 10th sutra. So I'll just share this on screen. So 4, 1, 10, we'll start from, we had done up to 9. From here a new topic comes up. Earlier we were looking at the cause-effect relationship, the discussion of faults, moha, all the doshas. So that we had seen because they were introduced earlier. Now we discuss in more details all the things that we had postulated earlier. So here we will start discussing Pretya Bhav. So what is Pretya Bhav? We have read earlier. We shall see in more details slightly what are the causes and what is the concept behind Pretya Bhav. So here the one derivation that can be achieved from Pretya Bhav is given in this sutra. Atma Nityatve Pretya Bhav Siddhi. So Pretya Bhav is what? Transmigration, going of the mind from one body to the other body. So that is Pretya Bhav. So because of that only rebirth, the continued series of births and deaths, the rebirths occur because the mind or the Jivatma, rather, according to Nyaya, goes from one body to the next, right? So in Vedanta, we have seen it is the Sukshma Shariram which goes from one body to the next. There, Sukshma Sharir consists of only the Jada part, the Atma and the Jada part of the Man and the sense organs and the Prana, they all collapse into each other. If you remember, there are 17 components of the subtle body that were listed there. So those 17 components, the 5 Jnanendriya, 5 Karmendriya, 5 Pran, Man and Buddhi. So all these 17 collapse into one unit and then they go from one body to the next. So in Vedanta, we say that because consciousness is ever present, it is the one that propels the mind or the Sukshma Shariram from one body to the next, depending on the samskaras that it has, depending on what Ishvara or the Lord has chosen for it to become its next abode or place of dwelling. Next abode or place of dwelling. So, Ishvara has chosen that. So, in order for that to happen, in Vedanta we say consciousness provides the impetus or the power through which it travels from one body to the next. In Nyaya we say that the consciousness associated with the mind and its sense organs, that together is called Jivatma in Nyaya. We saw in the beginning also. That together as a unit travels. So it is just the same. It is just the same thing. In Vedanta, we say the Sukshma Shariram is only the Jad elements, Man, Buddhi, and the sense organs and the Prana. In Nyaya, we say consciousness associated with that small part of the Sukshma Shariram. Together with the Sukshma Shariram, it forms one unit, which is the Jivatma, which travels. So it is in a way the same thing, only you consider the whole consciousness as one, and then that propels the Sukshma Sharir from one body to the other. In Nyaya, the whole Sukshma Shariram, along with the consciousness associated with it, travels from one body to the next. So two ways of looking at the same thing, but Nyaya has a slightly more better way, I would say, of explaining, because it is the book of logic. So actually, Nyaya and Vedanta are not fighting with each other. They are both saying same things, but Nyaya, the topic is more focusing on totally logic, whereas in Vedanta, the focus is more on one infinite Atma through which pervades everything. So Atma is the main topic there. So that makes a slight difference in the outlook. They will never leave the outlook that one Atma, which is a beautiful outlook. There's nothing wrong about it. That outlook assumes that there is, or it proves logically also that there is one infinite Atma. There can never be parts in the Atma. Nyaya says the parts are not there, but you can say that the consciousness associated with the uh, Sukshma Sharir of one person is conditioned by that mind and body, and that conditioning carries it from one body to the next. Okay. So uh, I will go back a little bit, because this one is the fourth chapter, 10th part. We are talking about Pritya Bhav, but this definition came in the beginning of the book. So if you go to the beginning of the book, then we'll waste a few minutes. We'll use a few minutes to go back, but it is necessary. We don't have a physical book, so we can just turn to that first page. So here we have to scroll through. Okay. So here, in, so we saw the 16 categories in the beginning: Praman, Prameya, Sanshaya, Prayojan, Dishtan, Siddhant, अवयव तर्क निर्णय वाद जल्प वितंडा हेत्वाभास छल जाति निग्रह स्थानानाम तत्व ज्ञान निश्रेयस अधिगम. These are the 16 categories, out of which if you take the first two, the praman and prameya. Praman is the means of knowing, method of knowing, if you remember, and prameya is the object that is to be known. So in the prameya, we later on go into the prameya, and the prameya also is divided into a few further categories. So these are given here in the 9th sutra. So Atma, Sharir, Indriya, Arth, Buddhi, Mana, Pravritti, Dosh, Pritya Bhav, Phal, Dukh, Apavarga, to Prameyam. So these 12 consist of the Prameyam, or the objects to be known. Whole body senses, objects of sense, intellect, mind, activity, fault, transmigration, fruit, pain, and release. Out of this, if you look towards the end, Pritya Bhav. Pritya Bhav is transmigration, moving of the subtle body from one gross body to the next. That is Pretya Bhav. Pret is a being without a body. So there the body is very subtle, not seen. So this physical body is not associated with that. So we have heard about Pret, Bhoot, Pret. So they are beings who have left their body, who are not associated with any physical body, but because they have not lived out their entire karmas, they are still attached to the relationships that were here. So they roam around the earth till their hunger or thirst is satisfied. So this Pritya Bhav is mentioned here. And then we go down to the 12th. Gandharas Buddhi. Oh, no, sorry, it was after 19th. No, 17th was Pravritti. So all of these are discussed here, and then in more details in the 3rd and 4th chapter. Right? So we have exhausted all of these. Only few more are left. So we have done Pravritti and Doshaha. Doshaha we have discussed in the 4th chapter, the first 9 verses. So the 10th verses goes on to Pratyabhav. So Pratyabhav is this is defined here. A Punar Utpatti hi Pratyabhav. So here only one sutra is dedicated to defining what is Pratyabhav. It is simply transmigration or rebirth. Punaha Utpatti is Pratyabhav. Movement of one body to the next or being reborn again is the definition of Pratyabhav. So as I said, in between there is a stage when the Pret stage when the body, the subtle body is without any gross body. So it is not seen, it is not seeable. So in that period it is moving. So that Pratyabhav is the position at that point. And then again, Pret is that state. And then Bhavaha means to gain a form, to take form. We were discussing this yesterday in Tattva Bodha also. So Bhava is to take form. So just like you have the bhutas, five bhut, the panch bhut, panchabhut. So the panchbhut is what? The five elements that have taken some form so that they are perceivable by one of the five sense organs. किसी भी इंद्रिय से वो ग्रास्प होते हैं, वो जाने जाते हैं. So when they are known, they are knowable, then they have some kind of form. Not necessarily physical form. It can be the form of a word, shabdah, it can be sparsha, and so on. So here this definition is given. So this definition is again examined in more detail in the next one. So here we have seen transmigration, series of births and deaths. Birth is the connection of the soul with the body, sense organs, mind, intellect, while death is the soul separation from them. So this is actually the definition of death. In our system, death is the detachment of the subtle body from the gross body. So that is death. So before that, before this happens, the body exists, and then when the Sukshma Sharira has entered the body, then the body starts to function, right? So we saw two words there, two words where there is two kinds of abhava. One abhava is before the body, and then one is after the body dies. So those two abhavas represent when the time when the jiva is, when the individual being is not there. So before birth also is not there, after death also is not there. So then we go to this fourth chapter, back to the fourth chapter, and here we see the tenth. So Atma Nityatve Pratyabhav Siddhi. So since we are defining Pratyabhav as the transmigration of one of the Sukshma Sharir or the Jivatma from the previous body to the next body. So there in Nyaya we are naming that as Atma. That is why there is always a lot of confusion. Those who are, very kattar, very, fierce in their defense of Vedanta, they will say that in Nyaya, Atma moves from one body to other. Whereas in Nyaya, what they are saying is not that full Atma, not the total Atma, but the Jiva Atma, the individual Atma that moves from one body to other. It is clearly given here, you can see. So here it is given what? Atma Nityatve Pratyabhav Siddhi. So Pratyabhav proves that Atma is Nitya, the soul is eternal. Because if the soul were not eternal, then it will not be able to move from one body to the next. It will collapse and end at the time of the death of the body also. So this shows that the soul is eternal, the Atma is eternal. Then only it can keep, because in actual fact, the mind moves from, or the Jivatma moves from one body to the next, and this is an infinite cycle. It is never ending. It has no beginning. But it has, technically it has an end when moksha happens. But then also, it does not mean that the thing is completely vanished. It has just merged back into the elements. Then it doesn't go in search for a new body, but it's not that its existence is finished. It merges back into the element. Like if there is 10 kilogram of jivatmas and 1 gram consists of one jiva, then that one jiva goes back into the 10 kilograms. So that quantity remains constant. Law of conservation of energy. So similarly, law of conservation of Atma. So, or whatever the Atma has projected as the Jagat, the universe, right? So the universe also follows some laws, which we call rhythm. Those laws maintain that whenever a Sukshma Shariram merges back into the element due to knowledge or due to knowledge of the true nature of the original Jivatma, the bearing soul who has now attained, full jnanam. So there, then the Sukshma Sharira will not take birth again. It will go back into its source. What is the source of that? The five elements. And ultimately, where will we reach? Prakriti, right? So five elements come from Mahat. Mahat comes from Prakriti. And there are some stages in between. So Atma Nityatve or transmig this Atma Nityatve, the proof that the Atma is eternal is a direct outcome of Pritya Bhav, because we know Pritya Bhav happens. It is said in the scriptures, and it has been directly or indirectly inferred in lots of cases where there have been people having memories of past births.
That's okay.
But very rare. But for us in Hindu Shastra, the Hindus, the Shastra saying it is enough. That is enough proof. Because the Rishi has seen that. We have not seen that. The Rishi has seen. And many Rishis will tell you about past births and coming births also.
But you can see your own
Yeah.
birth,
You can
past
see.
births.
Yeah.
You can see.
So the series of births is only possible only if the soul is eternal. So we add another point to that. Vyaktanam pratyaksha pramanat. So, so in this vyakt is something that is directly perceivable, है ना? Something that is directly perceivable. And then, so vyaktat, there is a halant at the end, that means you will not add an to the next letter, right? So it will be vyaktat vyaktanam, not vyaktat avyaktanam. In that case, it would be a full the or full the. But because of sandhi, the is replacing the ta there. So vyaktat vyaktanam pratyaksha pramanyat. So we say that it is clear that it is a source of direct perception, that from something that is visible only can something visible come in place. Huh? So whatever visible cause. Of course, if there is something that has been scattered into subtle parts, then a lot of atoms will come together to produce something visible. But that does not mean that they don't exist, or they are only in some kind of unmanifest state. They are only just not perceived by the eye. So if we get sufficient quantity of atoms together, then only will they form into the next bigger compound or bigger thing. So when that happens, they will have to come together. So they will become vyakt. So the rule in the creation is vyaktat vyaktanam pratyaksha pramanat. We see clearly in life. So just like from like a pot is produced from mud, or a cloth is produced from threads, both from vyakta to vyakta, that is the rule. So for that there is an objection that is raised by the opponent. This objection, in fact, is actually raised in some Vedantic text to show that, especially in the Mandukya Upanishad Karika by Gaudapada, to say that there is no production. But that is from the absolute viewpoint. So he is also right, this is also right. From the absolute viewpoint, there is only one Atma. Atma cannot have parts, so this production is only an illusion. But actually, the illusion also means that whatever is an illusion, within that illusion, there is a law of cause and effect operating always. So the opposition is given here in the 12th sutra. Na ghatat ghata nishpatte. So he says, you are saying that from a from a vyakt vastu, from a visible object, another visible object is produced, but from one pot, another pot is not produced. So how can you say that? Hmm. A jar is not produced from a jar, or a pot is not produced from a pot. So that is his objection. So we understand that it's not something that needs too much attention, but yes, we can easily refute that, and that is done in the next sutra. So we go into the 13th. व्यक्तात् घट निष्पत्तेः अप्रतिषेध. So apratished is there is no prohibition. Huh? So here if you split up the words in Sanskrit Sandhi, vyaktat vyaktat ghat nishpatte. After nishpatte there will be visarg, two dots. So because, and then apratishedha. So that a will be removed, and the visarg is replaced by ra, for according to Sandhi rule. So that ra is coming in between. Vyaktat ghat nishpatter प्रतिषेध. So the words is vyaktat ghata nishpatte apratished. So we say there is there is apratished, no prohibition for a jar being produced by from a distant thing. So we are not saying a jar can produce only a jar, like but in the case of a human can give birth to a child, right? So that is a similar thing, but of course there will be differences. So we say that a jar may not be produced from another jar, but it can be produced from its bowl-shaped halves. So two halves of a jar also can be joined together to get one full jar. So we don't need to go into such a confusing example. A very simpler example also, you can take any kind of modern example. Any source material can make different objects that was given earlier. From mud, you can make the pot from and so on. But whenever we make something from a base material, that base material can be used to shape another object. Then when we go put back that material into paste, we can produce other items. So always like gold is there. So with gold, you can make an ornament, which is a necklace. And that necklace, when you don't feel like I'm bored of it, so you can just ask the goldsmith to turn it into another. So he will take it and he will melt it and convert it into a bangle. Right? So in this way, a vyakt vastu can give rise to another vyakt vastu. And of course, we know we have the previous example where from the gold, the ornament can be produced, from the mud, the pot can be produced. So another objection after that, 4.1.14. अभावात भाव उत्पत्ति ही अनुपमृद्य प्रादुर्भावात. The mridya is mittika or mrittika, mitti. So some say that entity or bhav, abhavat bhav. So bhava is something positive, something having an existence. Abhav is something that does not have an existence. So some say that from abhav, bhav utpatti happens. So here the example is not given. This example you can see is given down there below the English definition, the translation. A spout cannot come into existence. So where this is coming from? This is coming from the bhashya of that sutra. So there are teachers who teach a particular tradition. They give so when they teach a tradition, sutra is given to them, and then sutra is translated. Then in the sutra there is something that is mentioned as something happens or something is observed, but the example is not given. The example is then given by the teacher who is explaining to the students. Right? So when you learn from a student, that is the difference of reading a book on your own and studying from a teacher. So the teacher will read some theory or concept, and then he will explain it to you with using modern examples or latest examples. So this one also, the seed and the sprout example here is not the part of the original sutra, but it is provided in the notes down there. So, abhavat bhav utpatti, or the production of something from something from nothing is observed in a kind of a birth, pradhurbhavat. What kind of birth? The birth of a tree from a sprout. So what he is saying is that before the tree was, there was a seed, and the seed was in the form of a very small piece, which then completely is destroyed. And then at that point, there is abhav, nothing there. And then from that, the tree has come out. But which we say is not exactly true. So we look into the next sutra. So here again, it is written in very short. It says, no, your example is wrong. So, Vyaghatat prayoga. So this example is inconsistent. It does not apply to all kinds of situations. So if we analyze this further, it is saying that to say that something's any existence comes into from a non-existence is a contradiction, because when you are saying that the effect, that is the tree, has destroyed the cause and has taken its place, then you have to produce that tree from something that is not even a seed, without a seed. Or from the seed of a banana tree, can you produce a banyan tree? No, if abhav was coming. So from non-existence, no, there is some information contained in the seed from which the mud or the elements take that information and they shape the tree. It agreed that the seed is very small and the tree is very big, but within the seed is the information or the genome, the map of the tree, and that map is expressed when the seed slowly starts to, seed is planted in the ground, and then it starts to swell, and then finally it passes that information onto the tree, and the tree starts to grow. Modern biology, we know all this. It is very simple thing. We feel we don't even need to prove it or prove through logic. But in Shastra, every simple to simple thing has to go through the process of logic. So in this logic, we say simply what is the sutra saying? Vyaghatat prayoga. This example that you are giving is not consistent, because in that case, you have to show me a tree coming out from nothing at all, or from seed of one tree, another tree coming out. Then only you can say that from non-existence, some existence is going to be born. So that is what is said here, Vyaghat. So then we go into the next objection. न अतीत अनागतयोः कारक शब्द प्रयोगात्. न अतीत अनागतयोः कारक शब्द prayogat. So, atit is something that has gone. Anagat is something that is going to come in the future. So, we have two states, the past and the future. So, we say that when you are talking about something in the past and you are talking about the future, so there we are saying like, if we are saying there is a pot. So when the pot is existent in the present, we say yes, the pot exists. But we can say that when the pot is existing in the present, we are seeing it. But there is a situation where we are seeing a potter making a pot. So this is the position of the opponent. We are saying that the potter is making the pot. So we are not seeing the pot. It has not come into shape. He is just starting the process. But we know after some time one pot will be made. Or it you can visualize a assembly line situation where like one pot has been made and you are seeing at that pot, and then only the mud is available for the next pot, and after a while that will also become. So you can say in the future, or like he says, every 5 minutes a pot is made. So after 5 minutes there will be a pot on that place. So you can say that. Oh, I need to. So, so he says what you are saying is not correct. From abhav, bhav is possible because we talk of these things regularly, that something is going to be produced or something will appear, or we can talk similarly in the past also. A pot existed at this place where we are seeing pieces of the pot today, or pieces, or even the mud that has been come out from the crushing of the pot, because someone reported that they saw a pot being crushed and that this is the mud of the pot. We can apply it to a lot of other things where we look at something that happened, and even though we have not directly perceived it, that there is a kind of shastra praman also for that. So like we have pratyaksh praman, anuman praman. So that in that there is one more praman, arthapatti. So in arthapatti what happens? We give this proof that something we are looking at, like we saw the road is wet in the morning. So we presume rain happened yesterday, right? In this way, he says we use this continuously in regular language, that one thing is said to have existed in the past, or something will exist in the future, for even though the even though we don't see the source of that object. So he says, in by that logic, something can come out of nothing. So, which is again an absurd thing. The person is trying to stick to his logic just by giving examples which are, a twist of language. He's just using twist of language, using language to prove it. So he said, no, there is no such thing. Na vinashtebhyoho anishpattehe. So he says nothing is produced from a thing that is destroyed. Right. So if he's saying that you are looking at a seed and you are saying, I have put it in the ground, and it will become a tree. Okay, understood that. That rule you can apply. You can apply that rule to the pot the potter is making. But can you apply it to the seed? When the example, the first you gave, that will be a tree. That seed might be destroyed, or that seed might not have the capacity to produce a tree, or maybe unwittingly the seed is a roasted one and it will not produce. So he says that the language you are saying, that by language I can say this thing will exist. So even though I don't see the source, I can predict that the final outcome will exist. So that is not, that he says your projection is wrong. You can never definitely say that something will be produced out of nothing. And whatever you are saying is nothing is actually not true. We prove that in the 14th sutra, that whenever something is produced from nothing, it has to be absolute nothing. It cannot be like one seed is producing a tree, in between there was nothing, no seed was destroyed. So in that state there was nothing, because you need a particular seed to produce a particular tree. Then finally, the series time related to this. So 4118, Kram Nirdeshat Apratisheda. So we say that Kram Nirdeshat Apratisheda. So when we are talking about a seed that has gone into the ground and it has totally, been destroyed, and then from that tree is formed out. So we are saying that the cause of the tree is not the rotting of the seed, but it is the conversion of the seed into the tree. So within the seed there are elements that will later become the stem, the root, and the leaves of the tree. There are parts of the seed itself that will become that. Only there is it initially it is in a very minute or small form. Later it becomes bigger form. In those times, that proof was not available to see through the microscope that this could be happening. But he says, even though we can't see that, we have to assume it is there in some microscopic form. So we can never say that the seed is totally destroyed or to become a tree. It is in a process of slow conservation, a slow transformation where it grows from the seed to the tree. So we are talking about what we call just a transformation from one state to another, not a total destruction. That is what we are saying here. एक चीज से दूसरी चीज में परिवर्तन होता है. One thing converts into another, and that is always allowed, right? So there is no problem with the uh, part that one form converting to the other. There is also no problem with the fact that the seed is small and the tree is big, because the seed is taking material from the earth and that material is added onto the tree to give it, the size. So the seed gives the map for making the tree, while the remaining elements, the 5 elements in the earth, they give the source for the size of the tree. So when we look at the kramaha, then when we look at the sequence, then we can easily understand that from krama nirdeshad apratishedha, from the series from which the seed is converting into the tree, we can easily understand that there is just a transformation and not a total destruction.
Process of transformation.
It's a process of transformation. Now we come to one line we frequently use in spirituality to say that I am not a doer. It is Lord who is the doer, right? But then I am also the doer. That line is not fully correct. My intention is the doer. The Lord is giving the energy or the power to do the action. Without the Lord, the action cannot be done. But without my intention, it cannot happen. So my intention is responsible for the karma phalam, right? If I attribute that intention to the Lord, that means I will no longer have karma phalam. That is a different thing from the absolute standpoint. But if I do not have that intention, then that thing will not happen. So the man of God or the one who is surrendered to God, he always says that everything is happening according to God's will or plan. So he attributes whatever has come in his mind as an inspiration from God to do certain things. And that is why he does not take upon himself the kartapana, the act of doership. But actually, intent is always there. So this part is examined in the next 4 verses. We'll just quickly look at it. So this is related again to that same thing, because a body or pretya bhav that we are talking about. So we focus on what we are originally talking about. Don't lose sight of that. That what we are saying is certain one sukshma sharir will go to the next. And so from one body it is going to the next. But which body? That is decided by the actions. Hamare karma. Our karmas decide what body I will get in the next body.
Sure.
So that part is being proved here. So we are just looking at, is God the sole cause of any activity happening in the universe? So Ishvaraha karanam purusha karma phalle darshanat. So some say that God is the sole cause of the fruits because man's acts are found occasionally to be unattended by them. So whenever we do some kind of action, we will not always get the fruit that we think we deserve of that. So we say that God is the doer, God is the one who gives the fruits, God is the one who uh, is giving the fruits of our actions. But then if some actions for which fruits are not being observed, then they have come from God's will, which is not correct. We have seen earlier also that because that will produce two kinds of defects. दो दोष आ जाएंगे ईश्वर में. One is pakshapat dosh, that he can, if someone is getting a fruit without any kind of action, that means he is being what we call lenient towards a person, or he is not being fair. He is giving something what he does not deserve. And then other one is naigranya dosh. Naigranya dosh, when Ishwar is giving some action has been done by a person, but he is not giving him the just fruit. That means Lord hates that person. Grina. So he will have naigranya dosh. Look, there are two conditions only, na. If someone is getting a karma phala, किसी को कर्म फल मिल रहा है, someone is getting a karma phala, then either it can be two cases. Someone has done an action and he still not got a fruit, and then someone has not done an action and still got a fruit. So someone has not done an action, still got fruit. That is pakshapat dosh. That means God is not being fair. He is
कभी हो नहीं सकता.
हो नहीं सकता ना. So that is why it is not possible. So because of these two flaws, it is not possible that any action not getting a fruit. This is not observed anywhere in the universe. Only thing why it appears to happen is some fruits take time. So he might get this in the next janma, the fruit of some action, or another janma, or maybe so many janmas ahead. We don't know when a fruit materializes or ready to bear, to be given to the person. So Ishvara Karanam Purush Karma Phalle Darshana. He says that a lot of times we observe the person has done certain action, but he has not gotten the result that is proportionate to his exertions. So we from that some infer that it's God's own choice to what he gives, to whom he gives what kind of fruits. But that does not fit the frame of logic. So that is not true. So he replied in the next one, but we have seen this earlier also. So na Purush karma abhave phala nishpatte. He said, no, this is wrong. Purush karma abhave, without any action or karma by a Purush, Purush ke karma ke abhav mein, phala nishpatte, fruit cannot be produced. So it is not possible that a person has not done any action and yet gets a fruit, or you can apply it to the reverse also. A person has done some action and not got the required fruit for that action. Right? So it is not possible.
We are getting
Yeah. So whatever fruits, whatever situations we are getting, of course, this karma theory is very, very deep. It is not easy to understand. So a lot of things are happening because of our own progress, right? So we have seen this in Tattva Bodha towards the end. All the karmas and all their actions, the three kinds of karma phala, the three kinds of actions, that is prarabdha karma, sanchit karma, and then agami karma, right? So prarabdha karma is the fruit, is the actions that that bear their fruit in this birth. Then we have the sanchit karma, all the sum total of all the actions that we have done in all our previous births. And then agami karma, the karma that we are doing while in this body, now and ahead, which will generate fruits, and that fruit sometimes is possible in this janma also. So that is something we observe right away. But the others we don't observe, that have come from previous births. So in that way, a lot of karmas and their fruits happen. So something that is happening to us in this birth is not necessarily from us. Then again, some say some person is very nice. He has never done any harm to anyone. Why is he getting bad fruit? So in sadhana, we say always, whenever you are rising up in sadhana, then also you will receive us. Because what is karma phala? Karma phala is a situation. So situation can come when you desire something, then the situation will come for you to manifest that desire. It may be positive or negative desire, but also when you want to rise higher in spirituality, you say that I will, lying is wrong, I will not never lie. So Prakriti or nature will throw situations at you where it will test you, harder and harder situations where it will test you. Oh, you said you'll never tell. Let's see now. This situation has come. Let me see if you lie or not. So that is a positive one for a really advanced sadhak. That is a sign, in fact, that he is doing well. So whenever we observe any tough situation coming in our life, focus on how to fight, how to overcome the situation, and not blame God or blame your karma or your previous thoughts. No, it can be from this janma, your progress in bhakti. The more bhakti you do, more from you don't get good situations or bad situations from bhakti. So, but the more bhakti you do, more tough situations will come, because then you are improving your bhavana, improving your mental position. When you improve your mental position, then you have to test. You can see that this in the world also. Okay. You both, Manisha, George, you have worked in companies, you are working. So when you work in a company, what happens is you try to perform to the best of your potential, right? But when you want to go higher, then you have to do something extra, something special. Or you tell to the boss, I want to take on this duty. So he will put you through a series of tests to see if you can live up to the expectations or demands of that higher job, right? Or alternately, you keep working so very hard, and then only when you are able to pass all the tests of people who are observing you, they will give you the higher post, right? So in this way, nature also does the same thing. Whenever it sees this Jivatma needs to be promoted to the higher level, the person has to perform. In fact, in our Shastra, we say that an individual can rise not just to the highest level in the Manushya Janma, but even to all the Devtas. And finally, even reach the place where he can replace Brahmaji. There is not one Brahmaji. There have been so many countless ones in the different universes and different times. So they have been advanced individuals who have reached that state. There have been individuals mentioned in the scriptures like Nahush, who tried to become Indra, or the others who have become Indra. So Indra again is also a position. Any Jivatma can reach that. So here he's saying, Na Purush Karma Bhave Phala Nishpatte. So in anything in the creation, it is never observed that when a person has not done any action and still receive fruits, only thing is we are unable to see the original action from which a fruit was produced. Then 4:121. Tatkaritvad hetu. So again, there is the tatkaritvad. So, this hetu. So,
Hindi ka,
huh?
hindi ka nikal.
Uh, so if someone said tat is that means Ishvara. So we say uh, without the prerna or the inspiration of God, there cannot be any kind of fruit, because karma is what? Karma is jada. Karma is dependent on a conscious being. Without a conscious thing, karma cannot function on its own. So Ishvara is the giver of the fruits, but he is giving the fruits according to the actions. Actions cannot give. Some say ki action gives fruit on its own. So in Purmi Mansa, God is not accepted. So they say one action itself will produce the fruit. So we say that that is also not possible. You cannot say Ishvara is not there. So God will need to exist, because he is the inspiring force, prerna, behind any action giving any fruit. So he knows, God is the knower of every action. He is present as the antaryami in all beings, as the consciousness within all our hearts. So he knows every action done by us, and therefore he gives us the fruits of every action according to the time at which the fruit will mature. So uh, this uh, this earlier example that we have given, is not acceptable, that the Ishvara can give the fruits of any karma according to his wish. That is not true. So in that case, neither can the karma give the fruit on its own. Whenever it is ripe, it will automatically give. Neither can Ishwar give without any karma happening. Always it has to be karma is done by a Jivatma or Jiva. Ishvara watches that karma. He decides when it will bear fruit, when it will give fruit, and accordingly he will give that fruit to the individual being, Jivatma. So that is why in Yoga Sutra also, Ishvara is named as Purush. The definition of Ishvara is Purush Vishesha Ishvara. So there it is given why? Because Ishvara is also like an individual only. Just like we are small individuals, he is a larger individual. For us, this is our body. For him, the whole universe is his body. So Ishvara is named as Purush Vishesh Ishvara. He is we have less knowledge, Alpagya, he has all knowledge, Sarvagya. So that is what gives him the power to give the karma phala to every being. Then again, they are giving another example where a fruit is coming from no cause. So animittato bhavatpatti कंटक texture adi darshanas. So he's saying that sometimes from no cause some fruit is produced. Like there is a thorn line. I have not done anything to the thorn. But I unknowingly I step on the thorn, so I am getting a fruit. So from no cause the uh, uh, action is happening. So it is like fortune. It is your bad luck that you stepped on that thorn at that time. So the thorn is giving a wrong fruit or a pain to a person. The person has not done any action where he wants to go and step on that thorn. So again, he gives a previous argument here. Animitta nimittattvani animittata. So, whenever there is something that is, you are saying that is produced from what we call animitta, something that is produced from no cause. Whenever an entity is produced from something from no cause, then you are thinking that no cause is the cause of the production. You say, but that is not true. It we said earlier also that it is just that the cause is not visible to you. So when you are saying someone has stepped on a thorn and without any reason the person got pain, then there is somewhere in the past of the person where that pain came, pain was due for him, and because of that he walked that way and stepped on the thorn. There is something in the past for which he deserved the fruit. So many examples for this are given in the scriptures. So like Bhishma Pitama was lying on a bed of thorns, on the bed of arrows. He was experiencing a very severe pain. Yet he bore it through because he wanted to survive till that time of the Uttarayan, when the sun starts moving towards the north. It is considered an auspicious time. So after that, when death happens, it is said that the soul's journey towards the liberation becomes smoother. He is able to move on to the higher realms very easily. So that he waited for that time. That is why he didn't die. So because he had to bear a lot of, so because of that, he had to bear a lot of pain. So someone from the Pandavas asked why he has such a nice person. Why we never saw him hurt anyone without any reason. If he has hurt someone only because it was a justified reason and all that was given. So why is this pain being inflicted? So so a rishi there came and told them, no, this is nothing can happen without cause. The same thing we are saying here. He went back to one of his previous births and said in that birth he used to play with some small bugs, and he used to take a thorn and pierce them and kill them. So that pain has come back to him in this birth. So he saw that. So the rishis then could see and they saw him back into that birth. So whatever it is, this is just to show that a lot of times we common beings cannot see back into the past and see when that bad action happened, which is producing a bad result now. But there will always be some original cause because nothing in the universe happens without any kind of cause. Yes. Okay. Okay, so after this, we are entering into the eternality of the soul, whether the soul is eternal or not. So the topic is going to change. So I think we have finished one topic for today. So this topic will, I think, continue in the next class, right? So I hope it was not too confusing. It is a very uh, uh, simple logic that has been discussed here. Only that the author wants to iron out all possibilities. Whatever objections can come, he himself raises them and answers them. But still, if I was not able to explain clearly, just let me know. Anything was not clear, then I can maybe try and explain again. Was it clear today's Manisha George?
Yes, yes, it was clear.
Yeah.
It was clear? Okay. Okay. Okay, then I think we'll wind up for today and we'll on to the next class. Continue in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om